Hey everybody, Degens on the Block here, where we talk crypto, NFTs, blockchain, and a lot of other random topics. We are super duper excited today. We have Mark Parrish as our special guest, the one and only. David, would you like to do just a little bit of a toss over to Mark?
Sure. So Mark Parrish and I, we've known each other for, God, it's been almost a decade now, I'd say, or a little bit.
Yeah, since preschool.
Yeah.
My mom had a huge crush on you.
Well, I hope she still does.
Who's that guy?
But no, Mark Parrish is actually an Edina guy here, and like he said, my daughter and his son go to school together, and he is the king and guru of real estate here in Edina and the surrounding areas. Nothing's too big and nothing's too small. Mark can sell it all. Wow, that actually sounded pretty good. So Mark, just tell us a little bit about yourself and what do you like to do?
Okay, so I've done real estate for... I've been selling real estate for about 22 years. I work for Sotheby's across the street in Edina on 50th in France. Kind of specialize in, well, I do everything, but I do kind of specialize in upper bracket homes, like Minnetonka area, Edina, Minneapolis. I'm married. I have one son. He's going to Colorado next year at Boulder.
Nice.
Awesome.
And on free time, whenever I have it, I'd like to go fly fishing, which I'm going to try to do after this.
Yeah, sounds like a perfect life.
Awesome.
Hey, question for you. So, I mean, when you hear Sotheby's, right, it's kind of like posh, right?
Yeah.
How do you guys differ from like Remax
Well,
or any other real estate agency?
I mean, I was with another brokerage for 14 years before I came over to Sotheby's, and Sotheby's to me is just more of a boutique-style brokerage where the agents that are there are seasoned, they're professional, there's no training. We used to not have meetings ever, but now we're kind of getting to meetings as far as like internal meetings.
Sure.
But it really was where you wanted to take your next step in your career and where I see myself finishing, because it's just... I'm telling you, it's like it's freeing to be over there. They let you do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
They just want to make sure you're taking care of the client the best you can. And
So, is it true that you have a vending machine with Dom?
it's with Moe. Yeah, Moe.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's a vending machine. So after you close, we take you over to the vending machine. You put a token in it, and a bottle of Moe
Nice.
comes out.
Nice.
And, it's pretty cool.
We might have to talk about those tokens.
I hate it when that champagne gets hung up.
And you have to like hit it.
You gotta start pounding it. You know, it always happens to me like that. It's such a pain.
I know.
So you're saying that it's usually for more seasoned real estate. It's not like someone that just got their license. It's someone that knows what they're doing already.
Yeah, I mean,
much.
especially in this market, I mean,
Yeah.
you really know. I mean, things are changing from the last couple of years. I've seen changes. So again, 22 years. The big change was in 2008 when we had the whole market meltdown,
Crisis, yeah.
and a lot of people got out of the business. And so then when you were working with other agents, it was a lot easier because you mostly knew them. They knew what they were doing. We're kind of starting to see that again right now, where things were really good and really easy for newer agents just getting into the business. The last couple of years, and all of a sudden since September, the market's kind of shifted and changed, and it's tough. It's really tough. You got to know what you're doing. You have to have a huge network.
Sure.
So I know you do a lot of sales in the Edina area, but you do outside Edina obviously as well. But
Right.
would you say how much of a percentage is your business in Edina?
I wouldn't say it's mostly, but I'd say it's probably 70%.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's really good.
Yeah, I do a lot. I mean, I market myself not specifically to Edina, but kind of a certain price point, and that real estate's a popularity contest. So you end up, the more people you know, and the more people that you hang out with and socialize with, especially having a son that went through Edina schools, he was in sports. You're always connecting with newer people, and then he's also been in other things where you just again keep adding people on top of people and layering it, and then just also professionally marketing myself. I don't do a lot of mailers or things like that. Really, it's mostly referral, and it's contacts of people I've made friends with through the years.
Well, you're extremely popular. So
Yeah.
And David was saying you're pretty dang good at the social media stuff too.
Yeah, I
show us something, Mark.
Tell it. We'll put a few clips up here, guys.
back in I think it was 2009-ish, when I was at Coldwell Banker, when Facebook, I looked at this and I'm like, I've been waiting for this my whole life.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where someone that's an extrovert, it's like it's just opened up. Like, oh my gosh, I can get myself out there, and
It's a
really,
stage.
it is.
It is.
You're your own publisher.
Yeah,
all
I
of
mean,
a
it's
sudden?
really okay. So I was working with a team before, and when I was doing this, they were kind of I remember their wives were a little upset, like I was doing things that they weren't comfortable with. But
I've seen a couple of them.
yeah, I mean, a couple crazy things, but I think people work with people when they get to know your personality, and you can't see that behind a photo. So I started
Right.
doing more videos, doing more, kind of funny things, catching people's attention. But my whole formula for social media has always been work, family, fun.
Yep.
And what I do, I'm professional. I do a good job. Obviously, I have the sales to prove it. I do it in a way that's it's entertaining. It's fun to work with me. And then I'm a father and a husband, and I like to talk about my family. And so those are my three things about social media.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's a huge thing.
It absolutely is. I love the Elton John. I just
Oh,
have
you
to-
remember that?
Of course. How can
a lot of
how
people
can
remember that.
how can one forget? Once you've seen that, well, let me tell you guys, you've seen it all.
I've met Elton John.
Oh, wow.
So many years ago, that was a 40th birthday party for a friend of ours, and I rented a costume, and I actually had my teeth blacked out in the middle, like
Yeah.
Elton John's teeth. And the next day, I had my son who could play the piano. I don't know, maybe I pre-recorded some music, and I just recorded myself playing the piano and
Yeah.
singing one of the songs. I think it was Daniel or something. I don't know.
That's great.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Well, why don't we hit that timer and
Let's talk a little bit about your.
Yeah,
You
tell 'em
said
about
your
how it
family is a
Yeah.
family. Well, number one, I think family is, work family,
Right,
right?
yeah.
And so I think we all have families. We all have kids that are about ready to go off to college. I'm curious how y'all are dealing with that. I'm kind of getting a little sad,
Right.
but I still have two kids at home. One's going, but tell us more about your family.
We have one son. His name is Jackson, 18 years old. He's, we're very close, probably too close, where it's kind of okay, I got to be a dad,
Sure.
instead of a friend.
Remind
he's a
yourself
great
that.
kid.
Yeah,
though,
yeah,
great
yeah.
kid. I know. He's good.
He's smart. He's in the Edina choir. He's in the Mount Olivet choir. He's at Mount Olivet board. He does counseling. He was the captain and made state for soccer. I mean, he's one of those guys where I look at him like, geez, I wish I could have came back and be like him, when I was in high school. I don't know.
That's awesome.
But no, he's a great kid. My wife, she's a teacher. She's a second grade teacher in Minneapolis. And we lived in Edina for about 18 years. He went to Cornelia, Southview, and then Edina High School.
Okay. And then has he picked out his college?
Yeah, he's going.
Okay.
So he got into every college except for Madison. So every kid, from Edina wants to go to Madison. We all went
Sure.
to Madison. Everybody wants to go to Madison. And what happened was we narrowed it down to 3 schools, and it was Iowa, University of Iowa, Boulder, and the U. And it turned out that he wanted to go away somewhere. And one weekend we went to Iowa. It was freezing cold, but he did have fun. He got into some bars, and he had a great time. And then the following weekend we went to Boulder, and it was sunny.
Yeah.
And there were people walking
Sold.
around in shorts,
nothing.
and
I think Jules just came
mountains.
back from Iowa, right?
And so he's like, I think I want to go here.
Yeah.
And I was very happy for that.
I think that's so
I
key.
bet you are.
I think that's so key is that experience when the kid gets on campus. Because
Oh.
I went to the college that I went to because I got on campus. It was freaking beautiful, beautiful day. Everyone's out. Like the college that I kind of want my son to go to, he went to it. It was cold. It was rainy. It was crappy. And it's like, I'm not going here.
It's all about high energy, right? High energy.
Yeah, and Denver's quick.
Yeah.
It's a quick flight.
Yeah,
It's
right.
inexpensive. He can get there faster than he could driving to Madison. So we're
You're right.
happy. We already have a bunch of trips booked. We're probably gonna drive him nuts. Just leave me alone. And give her back again.
You only got 10 trips planned. There's like 9 months in the school year.
Exactly.
What are you other fellas, how are you feeling about the kids going away?
Well, I have our oldest is at UMD, and to your guys' point, when he was trying to decide between the last 2 colleges, because he had narrowed down to NDSU and UMD, we went there to both towns. And I said, "Where do you picture yourself? Do you want to be out in a field, in a windy spot, or maybe do you want to be in a spot where you get to see a lake and some other things?" So I said, think about that beyond where your friends are going to be.
Right.
Where do you see yourself recreating? When you're not in school, and that kind of
changed
helped
it.
it clench it pretty quickly. So. But they have to be comfortable too. He liked walking around the campus. He liked the ambiance and things like that. And so that was that made it easy for us. Plus, it's a little bit closer. So again, to
It's
your
a little
point, too,
stressful
it's
for them.
nice.
It's so stressful. And you get, I was always like asking, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? And just, you got to let them be. They'll
Yeah.
figure it
Yeah.
out. They're
Yeah.
always going to go where they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
True that.
And I think things are changing a little now. Like the value of some of these, some of these colleges are so expensive, and then you're just weighing out. I mean, really, is it worth paying this
Right.
$70,000 a year price tag
Right.
versus doing a $28,000 tuition? And
Yeah.
who
I mean,
wants to
that's-
start out so far in debt or make their father pay for everything?
Yeah.
Like the rest of their lives.
Where is like the vocations and the vocational schools in the mix now? Because I've always aspired. I was the first kid in my family to go to college, so I was aspiring to go to college, and now I'm
Yeah.
almost like, well, a lot of the jobs that are going to be out there or the careers out there haven't even been thought of yet.
yeah.
No.
So
Exactly. I mean, we did that. So my daughter Ella, she graduated a couple of years ago and was not going to go in the traditional route. We started to look at schools and stuff, and she wanted to. She said to us, she goes, "No, I want to go to college, but not for the class stuff." And we're like,
No
"That's
one
not
does, but who
college."
admits? No one does, but who wants to admit it?
Yeah, so she was very honest with that, and she ended up going to Aveda Institute, and it was the best move
Right.
ever because she found something she wanted to do, and
great.
I've got nieces and nephews and stuff that were amazing students in college, but it's like they're not really using their education so much.
Yeah, there's a billion
know?
people out there that have majored in something that definitely aren't even
Yeah.
applying it in their
Right.
work. So
So it's kind of I think it's for us it was a great move because she doesn't have hardly any debt. She's already making decent money, and she works at
great.
Spelon. So and her friends are still they're finishing up their second year of college, and she's done.
Right. Yeah.
And making money.
Yeah.
So
it's nice.
I think for us that worked out, and I think to your point, the payback for that much expense. Sometimes there's so many jobs out there that people don't even. I think especially living in like Edina, you're like, well, am I going to be an electrician?
Probably not.
Electricians make a shit ton of money.
They do.
yeah, pipe fitters. Yeah,
Plumbers, they do.
yeah.
And
Carpenters.
it's we forget about that kind of trade direction, but it's out there.
I will say real quick, just because we are running out of time. So my daughter Madeline, who's graduating right now and going to the University of Montana. Number one, she just wanted to go away, right?
Right.
Number two, I think it's going to be harder on my wife. I'm saying that now just because the buildup, I can see. I mean, I'm going to miss her. I'm going to miss hearing her voice and the singing and et cetera, et cetera. And I'll call her every day just to make sure she's okay. But my wife is definitely, I feel, is going to have a harder time dealing with it. But seniors got to go.
Gotta go.
David, I have to say something real quick. I
Yeah.
know we wrapped up, but when it comes to that, you're gonna, especially if you have a bond like you have
Yeah.
with your boy. We're not acting all tough, but you're gonna miss
Oh,
him
for
as much, if not
sure,
more,
for
than your
sure.
wife. I mean, 'cause that's what happens to me. It's like especially after when you first left, it's like okay, and it's time for Manu to do what, and he's just
There's-
not around. He's just
yeah.
not there, and you got to put it out of your mind there.
And he's 2 hours away.
But yeah,
Mine's like
he's that
19.
close. Well,
19 on the drive and
But,
a few on a
does
fly.
make it- that
He'll
does
be
make
living
it
at
tough.
home till he's 40.
Do you have that
so
app
it's
where you
after. This
find
is a
them?
break.
Yeah, like 360
life lock.
Are you going to turn it off?
No.
I don't think I am either.
I told her, I'm like, hey, if anything happens, I'm not doing a check on
You're
you.
not at the library.
Yeah. You've never been to the library.
once this semester.
That's a whole different topic. The Life 360 and the kids that we should
We had
talk
an
about.
interesting.
Yeah.
Our last episode, we had an interesting talk about Life 360 and the
and-
benefits of that.
And
when it
and
comes to
parents.
elderly,
With
the elderly,
Yeah.
yeah.
How to
So-
keep watch without watching.
Well, I mean, that's it for this topic, but I think we can kind of almost roll into the next topic. We'll take a little break, but we're coming back talking about how some of the jobs that haven't even been thought of yet, how our own careers have changed over time.
Yep.
And I'm interested in how real estate has changed over time. So we'll be right back. Thanks, Degens on the Block.
Don't take my class. 2, 3.
Don't take it. Welcome back to Degens on the Block. We're a podcast of crypto, Web3, NFTs, and today we're talking a little bit of real estate with our special guest, Mark Parrish.
All right.
Hey.
Woo. Welcome.
So let's pick this back up. We're starting to, I think, Todd, you were talking about how some of our, professions and
Have
stuff
changed
have changed so
over
much.
time, yeah.
And it seems like, especially in the last, year, it's just like everything with technology and everything has just changed everything.
Yeah. I'm curious because way back in the day, in 2005, I was gonna flip real estate, right?
Yeah, we all were.
I took a week off, got my real estate license, passed my thing, and was looking to talk to a broker or something. Fortunately, I got into my specialty school, and then I ended up going to my residency down in Texas. But I know things were different back then. How things have changed over time? Have there been a lot of changes in the real estate business? And as an agent, are there new challenges for you at all?
New technology.
I'd say the new technology that's the real buzz right now is this AI.
Okay.
The chat, what is it?
GPT.
GPT.
Yeah.
ChatGPT.
So I was asking a friend of mine that works for Microsoft, I said, is this kind of glorified, cheating? Like you just put a couple subjects in, a title, and then all of a sudden it spits out, where are you going to find your buyer? What are you going to talk about that? Because the worst part for an agent is when you have to come up with the describing the house.
The copy?
Because
Yeah.
you're describing someone else's house, and you always want them to edit it, and you never do it right. So I thought this GPT
Yeah.
AI thing would be great. Just, write the whole
That's
thing out.
wonderful.
But that's one thing. Things that are out there that not a lot of agents do that I do.
Yep.
Just because, and it costs more money, but it's really good.
Is this top secret though? I mean,
Here's the thing about real estate. You can tell everybody what to do, but no one ever does it. So,
You do.
Yeah.
You do though.
I do. I used to do a lot of training for agents, but no one does anything. It's the 3D stuff.
Okay.
It costs a
That
little
Matterhorn?
more.
Is that
It's
Matterhorn?
Matterport.
Or Matterport?
Yeah, Matterport. And so it's a little cumbersome to maneuver, but people do like it. And then it also, in what's changed too, what's good about using the 3D is they come up with the floor plan. So agents can go in and measure with their tape measures, and then appraisers can come in with their laser measures. And then you have, the buyer comes through and they measure, and everyone's going to come up with the same, or I'm sorry, a different measurement.
Yep.
But when you use this technology, it just takes it costs more, but you don't have to worry about measuring it. You don't have the responsibility is not on you and the agent anymore because you have a third party that's a professional
nice.
doing that for you. And that's been great.
It takes the guesswork out
It
of
takes all the guesswork out.
Is that something that's become a standard that's recognized by different agents?
It is. I wouldn't say it's a standard because there's two main companies out there that are kind of do it. There's two guys in town that we know that they go out and they do it, and they've just gotten hammered. And so, not drunk, but hammered with work. They just show up hammered. The measurement's all wrong. No, they're so busy. So like if I get a call and a client wants to list a house, and it's usually we want to get it on within a week or two. And then you try to get these guys lined up to do the measurements, and they might be out 3 weeks. And so but there's a main company in town that's kind of taking over, and I use them, exclusively, and they're excellent. So
Excellent.
yeah.
Now, does that affect? Does that help with the challenge of having the square footage that's on the tax roll versus what's there, and does it help with appraisal stuff? Like you feel more confident that
Absolutely.
that appraisal is going to come on target?
So like when I list a house, I try to take all the guesswork out because I'm thinking ahead. One, we're trying to market it to the buyer, and then if the buyer makes the offer and it goes to the next level is the appraiser. And so what we try to do is give all the information and make it easy for the appraiser. They got everything right here. There's no guesswork. And sometimes you talked about tax records. A lot of people will say, "Oh, tax record, the value of the home is this." It doesn't mean anything.
Right.
I'm not a big price per square footage kind of guy because your house doesn't, the next door neighbor could have redone their whole side and put on an addition. The tax records are showing old information.
Right.
That's the value of using a realtor. It's really the one that's on the street that's seeing it and feeling it and going in and can communicate that with the new buyer. Of,
Yeah.
hey, this is why this house is worth this versus the house across the street.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
do you find that depending on the appraiser, that the values between could vary significantly?
Yeah. So the appraisers, their rule of thumb is they try to use comps within the last 6 months. Well, in the last 6 months now, there's just been no comps because, well, I should say starting in January, but if we went back to September, the market kind of shut down and kind of got quiet in September. And then we'd have to go back and look at comps from last year. And last year, we know how crazy that was. So there's this fluctuation of like, okay, what are true values again today?
Yeah.
Is it last year's number? Is it this year's number? But right now, and we could talk about this a little bit later, but right now the values are going through the roof again because there's no inventory. So if things
Yeah.
are, I mean, I can tell you about the last couple sales I've had, how the numbers have gone over the list price is just ridiculous.
So you're kind of entering into like almost bidding wars at this point?
It's
or?
back to, I'd say it's back to almost like a COVID market where, one, there's no inventory, but the interest rates were so low. I mean, they were in the threes, right? And, you'd work with buyers and it was very frustrating. You'd have to throw out your inspection. You have to throw out your appraisal. You'd have to, just everything. And then you'd have to go way over. And then what we started to see was back in September, the interest rates went to 7. Things got quiet. And everyone said, oh, that's it. The market's over. And it kind of did get quiet because we just didn't know what was going to happen. And fall's historically the slowest in the whole year.
Yep.
Fast forward to January, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, game back on. And there's no inventory because now the interest rates are higher and no one wants to move. But the people that are moving and they put their houses on. I had a house on Lindale in Minneapolis. I put it on Friday. 50 showings in 2.5 days, 3 days.
Wow.
15 offers.
15 offers. How much cash? How many of them were cash? Any cash?
No, one was cash.
Yep.
But I
What do
can't
you-
really disclose what it went over.
Right. What
but
was
it-
the listing price?
It was $750.
perfect price.
But it was a lot.
Oh,
A lot.
okay. Yeah.
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 Wow.
Well, I might need to sell my house.
I keep calling you.
No, I know. We're going to do it some year. But just 10 years ago, it wasn't the right time.
But once inventory
Yeah.
starts to pick
Yeah.
up, that's when things will slow down for the sellers.
Sure.
But related to the appraisals question, do you find that there's more problems these days compared to in the past when everything is done and it goes to to the buyer's bank and they do the appraisal? Is there issues? Have you seen a lot of issues because of that disparity with those numbers?
There can be, and it depends on it. Well, it depends on if you're refinancing or if you're buying. If you're buying, things 9 out of 10 work out okay. If the agent is doing a good job and they provide the information to the appraiser, meaning here are the comps, so he's going to be looking at the same comps that I'm looking at. However, going back to I know what these homes are like on the inside, so I can write a little addendums saying this is why this house is more specifically priced this way than the other comps that you have on your list. I do this all the time. Provide information, but don't do their job. Just provide the information to help them.
Oh, I like that.
There's our gong, but we're going to keep going. So I don't.
Yeah, have you heard of certified listings? Like a house being certified.
Certified pre-owned properties.
Yeah.
CPOPs.
Anything like that?
No,
So this is, I mean, part of what we talk about here is blockchain, not necessarily crypto, but the advantages of blockchain.
Right.
And like what I think what David's alluding to is that there seems to be something there with the idea of getting a lot of this stuff done up front and on the blockchain where it's immutable, where it can't be counterfeited or changed. Like for instance, the title.
That is what
being on
blockchain. A lot of people. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
a lot of people
go ahead.
don't know what blockchain is. So give a 2-minute little synopsis of what blockchain is.
Yeah, so blockchain is just a way, it's a ledger. It's a way of recording things, contracts, paper, anything that can be digitized. And then it's written onto this ledger. But because it has this cryptography that uses hashes, every block builds on the block and it has to refers back to the previous block.
Okay.
And all the computers have to agree that that's right.
Okay.
And if something's wrong, then it's
Booted out.
you can't change it. So a hacker can't go in and like change something
Right.
because it's all reliant on the stacking of the blocks.
Like a modern
The chain.
abstract.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%.
Like the
Yeah.
recording of the history of the house, but now digitalized and
Yes.
Exactly. And so now they're especially like out in San Francisco, we watched a little thing on blockchain and a blockchain called Consortia. And they're doing a lot of that where they're actually they're going county by county and putting the titles
Oh, wow.
on blockchain. And so now they're able to start doing all these things kind of up front where you're kind of you're doing that LiDAR measuring, you're getting an appraisal. It's all immutable on the blockchain, so it's very transparent for everybody. And all these things are getting done before the MLS or the MLS. Yeah. And so they're closing in like 9 days.
Yeah.
So I mean
that's
it's-
interesting.
Yeah. So if you had a certified pre-owned property, like a certified pre-owned car,
Yep.
Sure.
that might even garner, like those cars sell for more money.
So I could see how that would be helpful from the title, because I mean the title part's not the part that takes a long time. It's
Yeah.
the mortgage and getting the timing with the appraiser out there and getting that all back, and then doing the underwriting.
Yes.
But if this is helping the underwriters and the title company, that could
Right.
get homes to close sooner.
Yeah.
But then you also have buyers and sellers that might not be able to do it as fast. But if you had a cash buyer, if you had an investment buyer, I had a deal last week where the buyer was closing a lot of properties. You had to do a 1031 exchange where you have to take money out and you have to put it into an investment property within, I think it's within 60 days, 60 or 90 days. I think it's 60 days. That would be helpful because then they could do something like that pretty fast and it's
Yeah.
all done.
Yeah.
I think part of this too, the certifications are also supposed to be, from the consumer kind of side too.
Right.
To
Buyer and seller. Yeah.
Yeah, so you could have, these certified properties. I think not only would an appraisal have been done with it,
Right.
but the corrections that the inspection kind of is asking for would be a part of that kind of certification process. Saying, we did not only do we have the appraisal, but that's also factored into the all these
Disclosures and stuff.
the disclosures and the inspections and the corrections from the
Yeah.
inspections as a way to give more confidence, and for those bidding wars that it apparently is what started a lot of these things, but because it seemed like a kind of a high value thing that paid off in the end because of a quicker sale and
Yeah.
closer to the actual number.
Well, then buyers also feeling more secure about what they're doing because they have more information.
Yeah.
To make a quick decision. And they can look at that information before.
What other things can blow up your deal? It's like the financing, like timing issues? Would it be
Parents coming to inspections.
okay? Okay.
Is that a bad
Oh boy.
one?
Oh boy.
Hey, my mom and dad are going to come. My dad, he's really handy.
He's really
so
handy.
He's going to look at.
He's a handyman.
No.
He sees a crack in the foundation. And it's like,
You know what blows up deals is poor communication. Not being able to. I had a deal yesterday where it was my listing, and the two buyers last week we put it on 24 showings. Two buyers made an offer, two offers, and one was 10,000 over, one was 20,000 over. And the buyer went through, did their inspection, and realized the house needed some work, and realized that maybe we bid off more than we could chew, and we need some help. First-time home buyer, and they realized that we don't have a lot of extra money out of pocket, so they came back and they asked for $10,000. So I have to go back now to my seller and explain that, well, they're still interested. That's the good news.
yeah.
I always lead with the good news. Good news is they're still moving forward, but they have some things they want to address. I have the sold sign in the car. Another thing I want to talk about. Good
Yeah,
news,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Hey, we can hang it up.
Yep.
But that buyer is going to ask for $10,000 in closing costs, and they put their foot down, and
They're not budging.
I'll just keep it. I'll fix it up. I'll tear it down. And you just listen to them, and all you can do is just provide the information of like, well, you had it on before. I'm your third agent. I live across the street. I would love to see some new people here. Get you. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I mean, it's just
Time to leave.
And then I'm thinking this is going to be awkward if he doesn't sell the house.
Yeah.
And now we're like butting heads. But no, it was communication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was able to help him walk through it, and then he did sign, and we're all good.
That's a really interesting thing, because in that research of looking at this San Francisco company that they're doing, there's a third party company that basically comes in, and you get all this stuff done up front on the blockchain, and you have to put all your disclosures in, and then what will happen? This third party company will actually come in, and I don't know if this is proper, but like kind of bridge those costs to fix it up,
Right.
and include that back in the end loan, and then the bank, like, okay, I like this because now everything's taken care of. It's a better home now that these things are done, and this company kind of bridges that, is able to do the repairs so that when your buyer buys, they buy the house that they intend to buy, and it's
that's
fixed
smart.
up. Yeah, so
I mean, as a buyer, you just want to go in there with confidence that everything's going to be fine.
Yeah.
You want a turnkey little operation. No surprises, right?
Yeah, you don't want to go in thinking, I got to spend 20 grand to make this livable before we can get going.
You know, again, with these people, I mean, they're new first-time homebuyers. They
Right.
don't know the process. This is all new.
Right.
This is scary. How much does it cost? They don't know how much things are going to cost.
Yeah.
And to tell the seller that, you know, they're asking for $10,000 sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. And
No, in the scheme of things, like you said, if you've tried to sell it a couple times, you've
Yeah.
gone through a couple agents. I mean, that's money. Our time is money. So
time is money.
Yep. Love it.
I mean, I think it's going to be a long time, probably, maybe not a long time, but it's going to be time before we all start implementing blockchain in our everyday careers. But I mean, I think
100%.
real estate, it makes sense, but it
sounds
may
helpful.
take some time. But
It could definitely benefit it.
if you streamline the process for everybody,
Buyers and
you're
sellers.
closing in 9 days, and your volume's going up. Like, not many people are in this on the front end, like certifying their properties. So you could actually ask for an extra %. That's what they're doing out there.
Really?
So
Sign me
instead
up.
of
Yeah, right. On both ends, right?
so
Sounds
yeah.
great.
So and the process, at least in they also talked about one in Texas, where the process really cost the agent like about $500, and the 1% was like 35,000.
Wow.
difference.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
so like,
huge.
so and I think as a buyer and a seller, I like the security of knowing what exactly I'm buying, that it might be fixed up before I buy it, or that kind of thing. Or as a seller, knowing that it's gonna close quickly.
Well, anything that's certified, right, makes everyone feel better.
It's just like with the cars. I mean,
Exactly.
those sell so much easier when they are certified pre-owned and with the warranty and stuff like that.
Yeah.
100%.
That's even
I
better.
think the difference, though, is that when you're fixing up a house, there's a certain amount of customization, right? I mean, so just the fact that they'd say, well, we're going to come in and fix the window. Well, that might not be the type of window I would pick out as a buyer, right? You may pick it out as a seller because,
right.
number one, it's cheaper. You know, you're not going to go with the best window. You're going to go with a construction grade window.
double
and
pane
something
here.
else. You know, so that's the only part that I can see that would be a little weird, right?
my
I'd
world-
rather take the discount in price and fix it myself
Exactly.
than have
yeah,
somebody come
and
in.
I think a lot of these end up going on as is. You know, you've done all the work up front. You've got all this titles done. Da 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 da. Now I'm putting this on as is. So as a buyer, you have to come in and accept it. You've already
Yeah.
seen it, and
No,
it's,
So, I mean,
things
the
are still
basics,
moving.
I think, you know, foundation, things like, you know, a roof, you know, a lot of that kind of stuff. I mean, even a roof, you know, you may want to pick out different color shingles, or you're going to paint the house,
Right.
you know.
I don't think that they would be void of talking to the contractor that's doing the work, the new buyers. But
I think from what I gathered from what they were talking about, the things that they mainly focus on would be things like, you know, hey, there's a couple electrical things where you got to switch a couple of boxes and you got to do a couple of things there, and then, you know, maybe structurally there's a little bit of, it's more the kind of the major things that would be a big issue, or, you know, the water heater needs to be replaced or something like that.
Yeah.
More those types of things that the things that they're trying to do, maybe not the water heater because that's a little bigger expense, but it's those other types of easier kind of repairs. You know, the one step needs to be corrected and something like that. That versus more the things that would be more of an aesthetic kind of a repair that you would have that type of an input where you'd want the window thing.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting, and it's great to have an expert here that really knows the biz.
Yeah.
Because I don't know much about real estate, but I just thought this was a really cool application of blockchain, and who knows where it's going to go.
Yeah.
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 Love it.
Perfect.
All right, guys. Degens on the Block. We'll be back after this with Mark Parrish.
All right, welcome back to Degens on the Block.
Degens.
I'm Manuel here with Todd, David, Glenn, and our special guest, Mark Parrish. Mark, welcome back again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, and so what we're going to talk about is retirement, and not kind of in the typical way you would. It's more like, how do you see retirement now compared to what you saw when you were younger? Does it look any different?
No gold watch.
No go.
See, there
Yeah.
you go. All
Don't
right,
put your wrist up.
There's no pension. There's no pension.
Todd, give us a timer.
Give us a timer. Let's go with 7 minutes, boys. Here we go.
Too
Yep.
good.
Who
All
wants to
right.
start it off?
So yeah, I mean, when I was younger, I grew up in Spain, right? And in Spain, there it's more the traditional, kind of thinking of, you'll have like a state pension basically, and that you kind of retire and hopefully you'll make enough off of that. And after I see you to Spain and came here to the States, I was thinking kind of the same thing as my grandparents were. It's like work for a company and then you get hopefully something out of it, and that's where your retirement comes in. Once I decided,
Social Security.
once I decided I don't want to work for anyone, then my outlook changed quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I think what changed for me is that the work that I do, I love doing, and so and I'm excited about it. So for me, working is it's not that much of a burden or a task or a chore. So and since I get enjoyment and get some joy still out of it, I guess I'm going to go until my brain and body can keep going.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Right.
So, yeah, Mark, have your views changed since I don't know in the last 15, 20, 30?
So this is a good topic because we just kind of met with our financial planner trying to get ideas of. My wife's a teacher. She's done it for almost 30 years, and so she's burnt out. She's done. Her idea of retirement is, she wants to do something different, take some time off. So that's different. For me, being a realtor, I find myself. I don't know if retirement's even my vocabulary, really, and it's not because of necessarily money. It's just that I don't want to. I just want to stay consistently in business. But there's a guy in my office who's 87. He's still doing it again, not because he has to.
That's
but
great,
he's just
though.
keeping.
He wants to.
He's doing
Yeah.
what you get to a certain point where maybe you don't need to do the certain level that you do. Like right now, I've got a son that's going through college, and we're paying for a mortgage, and all that kind of stuff. We have a cabin. There's things that you have to pay for life. I just see myself doing what I'm doing, but also enjoying what I want to do when I want to do it. And I think that's the best part of my job is I don't work a 9 to 5, 5 days a week. It's all over the place. And what I learned from talking to my retirement guy was it's not about how much you I always thought like, I have to have this much in the bank, and it has to be this much. It's not really about that. It's about how much do you really need on a monthly basis.
Need and wants.
Need and want. And, if you can live your life, modestly. And, my whole thing has never really been, I don't really spend more than, I go the other way. I try to live more frivolous. And so, do I buy some things once in a while that are nice?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. We all like nice things, but,
You have a cabin.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we inherited, so I didn't
perfect.
buy that. But we have a nice house,
Yeah.
and there's expenses in everybody's life. But I just I don't buy too expensive things.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think there's something to be said for like that 87-year-old guy. Like
Yeah.
my mentor and my business coach is 76, and he's still doing endodontics, working on patients every day, doing root canals. But he long ago, when I first started working with him, he talked about he retired in practice. And so he loves what he does. I think he comes just to talk BS with patients and see the staff. But basically, he retired in practice, which I'm planning to do within 5 years, go down to 2 days a week.
Oh, that's great.
Only working 2 days a week, having something to do. I think keeping your mind involved, as long as the body can still do what it needs to do at the quality that needs to
Right.
happen. I don't see myself retiring as opposed to like 30 years ago. I'm like, oh, when I retire, I'm going to Ixtapa in Mexico, David.
I'm already there mentally and
Yeah.
soon to be physically. But I do want to mention this is that in this room right here, right now, we're probably talking to a lot of 3%ers, right? I mean, true. Everyone kind of works for themselves.
Right.
And there's a lot of people, I just wonder, right? Because the outlook for what retirement is for us, how is it for them? Because are they still trying to climb that 40-year corporate ladder to get that gold watch?
Right.
And then hopefully soon have enough benefits in the background to live off of, like you were talking about. I think that in this room, we're very fortunate, right? Because we all have passion. We're all kind of in that field of our passion, and being able to get paid for it, well, that's success in itself. Now, not having someone to tell us when to be there, how many hours you need to be there, you get a week off, that in itself is like,
Freedom.
yeah.
It's the only way I could do it through my life. I did the
Right.
corporate thing for a while,
Can't
and
do that.
I couldn't do it.
No.
And I kind of feel like, even when I'm working now, I have my own schedule. I work when I need to work. I know what I have to do.
Right.
And my dad just retired. He's 76. He had an insurance company. He worked really hard his whole life.
Yeah.
And now he's starting to do things, and I don't want to do that. I want to be able
Too
to
old.
do.
Too old.
Sure.
I want to do things
Concurrently,
now.
right?
Like you can
Concurrently.
still go hiking,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
At 84 years old, you're like, oh, well, I can see it from here.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't have to
Right.
climb
And,
that hill.
and just the act of staying active at work, it increases your mobility. And as we know, as your mobility and your mental capacity kind of wane, your life quality goes down. And so just the fact of getting up every morning, going somewhere,
having
or-
something to do.
Yeah, having something to
But,
do.
but it's more than that. It's you guys with all the stuff that you're doing. You find joy in it.
100%.
So you're not just doing a job. You know,
Right.
you're
Yeah.
fulfilling something.
Well,
and you're getting joy out of it. Glenn, I know the stuff that you do. You love doing the stuff that you do. I mean, do you get the same type of joy out of doing a project, fulfilling it, and going, all right, can't wait for the next one?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think there's definitely that. Not everything I do is making money.
Not yet. Not yet.
There is that part. The passion, and the finance hasn't really caught up. But I mean, it's crazy, and scary to think how many people are entering those retirement ages with zero in reserve. And because of whatever it is, bad, finance deals in the past or
Bad
low
luck.
wages, bad luck, and I think a lot of people are going to be working to make all their bills.
Well, you see,
all the way through into
senior
retirement.
citizens right now, right? They're working at Walmart's. They're working.
Yeah.
I've seen them working as lifeguards because there's a national shortage of lifeguards.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so they can't get anyone to work, so they're hiring senior citizens. Well, if you have enough money and you're 80 some years old, the last thing you want to do is go work at a McDonald's.
You might
so
want a
sad.
It
tan
is.
though to be a lifeguard. 86,
At 86
Yeah.
years old, my skin
Yeah.
doesn't look like leather enough. Give me some of that sun.
But I think it's changed a lot. My grandfather worked at the same company from the time he was like 20 to when he retired. And he worked there for 50 years or whatever it was. It's a different world.
and he
It's a
counted
different
on his pension and Social
Yeah.
Security, right?
Yep.
But
Which is gonna go away,
That's
right?
not going to happen
But you have
anymore.
to think back in the day when your dad and your grandparents, mine, we were educated enough to think that if we went through school, got good grades, we'd get to a good college, graduate, get a good job, work that corporate ladder. That used to be the thing. But nowadays, it's not. I mean,
Especially today.
They
Yes,
used to.
exactly.
They'll replace you before your pension's even like
Yep.
2 years away. Well, you're gone. We're going to hire this guy that just graduated from college, and we're going to pay him a third, and we're going to call it a day. So it's really unfair. But when you're not the boss, you get to.
And it's
do that.
almost back to our first topic about, is the schooling worth it? Is the debt worth it?
Right.
When you can't come out of college and have a predictable job, well,
It's a tough deal nowadays. It's different.
It's way different.
Yeah.
I don't think you even have to go to high school to do my job, but you don't have to have a degree. So you just have to have a good personality.
you do
just
have to
have
pass
good-
a test.
You have to
You
have
do
a
have
good
to, yeah, you have to.
social media presence.
Yeah.
And then you can be a realtor. No.
No, I think about all those kids like during college or during that went to college and then they'd come home and stay with their parents. And why not just go like to Normandale
Yeah.
Oh,
You know,
100%.
I was joking with my son, like, hey, we could say all this money
Yep.
that I saved for your college. You can just
I'll
live
buy
here
you a
and
brand new car.
get you a new car. But no, I mean, there's so many of his friends and so many of my friends that I've grown up with that did we really need to go to college? I mean, there's a social aspect of it, right? And,
Right.
And you learn how to live on your own, and unless you're a doctor or a lawyer or something very specific, like all these jobs, like my son, being in Edina, he always asks like, hey, what does so and so's dad do? It's finance.
Yeah.
It's always finance.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
they see that, and it's like, how do I get into finance?
Yeah.
And then all of a
Yep.
sudden, but
Well, we were talking about this earlier. We ask kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, I want to be a TikTok influencer. It's crazy nowadays what kids want to be, but it
they
used
got
to
more
be-
stuff thrown at them right now than we
yeah.
ever did.
You never hear, I want to be a policeman. But
Well,
that's a
no,
whole nother
but-
topic.
And to Todd's point, it's like, half of the jobs haven't even been figured out yet.
Oh,
I mean,
true.
Especially with
You know,
AI coming.
with AI,
down the
I
road.
mean,
Well, and how many jobs are going to be taken? Because there
Yeah.
will be
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be. I mean, you can't be, confident just sitting in whatever you're doing and plan to do the same thing forever.
Level of
Teach
service is going to go out
swimming.
the window, though.
AI is not touching my industry. No computer.
What the new robots will.
The robots.
Oh, I don't know.
Waterproof
Not in
robots.
water. Ooh, let's not talk about waterproof robots.
Do you remember the Saturday Night Live commercial, robot insurance? It was the old couple laying in bed. Do you have robot
Oh, yeah,
insurance?
yeah,
And
yeah.
then the old robot came and,
It came and did. It's not safe. Nothing's safe.
Robot insurance, yeah.
All right. Well, guys, with that, I think that was a good topic. That went well. So
Yeah.
appreciate you folks tuning in, and till the next time.
Cheers.